What if one morning you woke up and floating quietly above your wrist was a number, not a notification, not a message, just a countdown, days, hours, seconds, and somehow you know exactly what it means. At first you think it's stress or a trick of the light. You rub your eyes, the number stays, you cover your wrist. It's still there, glowing softly, counting down, 1 second at a time. You haven't been told when you'll die. You can see it, and from that moment on, everything changes. Think about the first hour after you realize it's real. Your heart starts racing, not because the number is small, but because it exists at all. Even if it shows decades, even if it shows a lifetime. You've just lost something every human before you had. Uncertainty. Before today, death was vague, abstract, something for later, something for other people. But now it's precise, measurable, always visible. You try to ignore it. You
Almost
make
ready.
breakfast. You scroll your
Time's running
phone.
out.
You laugh at something
Just in
stupid
time.
online. And there it is, ticking, quiet, patient. Every choice suddenly feels heavier. You wonder, does it change? If you eat better, does it slow down? If you take a risk, does it speed up or is it locked in? A fixed appointment you can't cancel. At work you notice something strange. Some people look calm, peaceful even. Others look haunted. You start paying attention to wrists. The guy who cuts you off in traffic, his number is massive.
Almost there,
Decades
almost.
left. He drives like nothing matters. The quiet woman on the bus, her number is low, very low. She stares out the window like she's memorizing the sky. And that's when it hits you. This world would split instantly. Not by money, not by power, by time. People with long countdowns would live like kings. They'd take risks, delay dreams, say later to everything meaningful. Why hurry? You've got time. But people with short countdowns, they'd live like every breath is borrowed. Some would quit their jobs the same day, walk out without explanation, spend everything they have, say everything they've ever held back. Others would do the opposite. They'd panic, they'd freeze. Because knowing the end doesn't always give you courage. Sometimes it takes it away. Imagine dating in this world. The first question wouldn't be, what do you do? It would be, how much time do you have? Would you fall in love with someone who only has a year left? Would you let yourself? Some people would chase short timers, addicted to intense, burning relationships that feel meaningful because they're temporary. Others would avoid them completely. Too painful, too real. Marriage would change, friendship would change, parenthood would change. Every goodbye would feel heavier because it might actually mean goodbye. Now think about children. Would they be born with a countdown already showing? If you could see a child with only 10 years left, would you raise them differently, protect them more? Or would the fear break you? And what about parents seeing their own numbers run out before their kids are grown? This power wouldn't just predict death. It would rewrite love. Then comes the question no one wants to ask out loud. Can you cheat it? People would try everything. New diets, new religions, dangerous experiments. Black market time extensions. There would be influencers claiming they cracked the code, gurus promising extra years if you follow their system. Most of it would be lies. But what if, once in a while, someone actually gained time? Imagine waking up one day and seeing your number jump forward. Just a little. Proof that the countdown isn't fixed. That single moment would destroy society faster than the countdown itself. Because now, every death wouldn't feel natural. It would feel like a failure or a choice. If time can be extended, then running out becomes your fault. And that's a terrifying thought. Hospitals would look different. Doctors wouldn't ask how you feel. They'd look at your number. Insurance companies would charge based on remaining time. Employers would quietly favor people with longer countdowns, not because they're better, but because they're safer investments. War would change too. Would you send soldiers into battle knowing exactly who won't come back? Or would leaders only choose those with long countdowns, assuming they're safe? And what about crime? If someone's countdown hits 0 and they're murdered a minute earlier, was it fate or murder? Courts would collapse under questions they were never meant to answer. But let's bring this back to you. Let's say you look down and your number is average, not short, not endless, just human. What changes today? Would you still scroll mindlessly? Still postpone that call? Still stay in a life that feels almost right, but not quite? Because here's the uncomfortable truth. Even without a visible countdown, you already have one. You just can't see it. The number is ticking anyway. Every day you trade time for habits, for routines, for distractions, for fears, for comfort. The difference is ignorance protects you. Not knowing lets you pretend you have forever. But imagine if just for a moment you lived as if the number were visible. Not to scare yourself, not to rush, but to be honest. Honest about who you love. Honest about what matters. Honest about what you're wasting. People often say knowing the end would ruin life. But would it? Or would it strip away the nonsense? Would you really argue over something petty if you could see the seconds leaving? Would you hold on to grudges that cost you time? Would you stay silent when love is at risk? Maybe the countdown wouldn't make life smaller. Maybe it would make it sharper, clearer, more alive. Because meaning doesn't come from unlimited time. It comes from limited time used well. So here's the quiet question I'll leave you with. If the countdown appeared on your wrist tonight, and it didn't change at all, what would you do differently tomorrow morning? And if the answer scares you a little, that might be exactly the point. If this thought stayed with you, sit with it for a while. And if you want more stories that make you see everyday life differently, you know where to find them.